Hello, everybody. What feels like a year or two overdue. Welcome back to the riff of the Fable of Xero Kita by Xero Kita. However, unfortunately, last time I wasn't able to bring the same person with me because we haven't found a good time to read. However, luckily I managed to get myself a replacement. Introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm the pastel witch, or I've got too many online handles to count, to be honest.
You just called it.
Into this. Oh, God help us.
Yes, this is Shiki Scarlet, a fellow friend of mine of the Touhou community. So now don't worry, he has actually read the entirety of this fic. So for better or for worse. So we're just gonna be like Phil DeFranco, and let's just jump into it.
Boy, we're on chapter 3 now.
Yep, chapter 3.
Also, I see this 4.
Chapter
Prologue.
Yeah. Chapter 3, Summer's Warm Welcome. It had been a few weeks since Zero first ended up in the land against Tokyo, and he had advanced far Pachulius magic lessons as he had finally mastered the dark arts, and we now moving on to white and even green magic, and he was more than equipped to handle the threats that the furthest areas against Tokyo could offer. So, a question: what does he mean by green magic? Like white magic, I could sort of understand, but green magic? Where does that come in?
Like, something to do with wheat, maybe?
No.
Oh, no, it's dank kush.
He's
I think there was something in Final Fantasy, like green magic, but I've never really looked into that.
I just don't know myself. That's just very confusing. Today, Zero was visiting the Moya Shrine, where he had meeting with Sene, the local shrine maiden in the area, who, like Zero, originally came from the outside world, and they hit off a pretty good friendship as they shared a cup of tea together.
You should have heard. What does the fox say? What does the fox say?
Oh, no, please, stop. Please, no.
It's a pretty kick-ass Sonic and makes you want to dance.
Zero smiled and sipped his tea.
I missed the iPod. It was pretty cool, but there are no ways to change the batteries here.
I think you mean Beatrice. I think that's what you meant to see.
I can't even make heads and
Cine sighed, and it made Zero think for a while. He was pretty good in science and even studied it in school and college. Wow, what a coincidence!
He's a master of science and magic and the sword arts. Like, he must have a lot of free time. Zero Kita. I'm too lazy to even study first aid. I'm going to the library soon.
Alright.
Where are we now?
Alright, so keep going on.
Oh god. Okay, I need to find a good voice for him. Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do the Sonic the Hedgehog voice.
Oh god.
You know, if I got the tools, I'm sure I could build a few outlets. And I did learn how to build LAN cables in my computing course. And wires are mostly the same thing. I could do wonders and make people in the human village happy, Hooba.
Zero said with joy. You do realize it's like Gensokyo, it's essentially rural Japan with a bunch of fantasy elements, right? I don't think this is gonna slide pretty well. Remember the last time someone had tried to have technology against Tokyo? we know what you did, Kaneko. We know what you did.
Oh, the nuclear reactors. Well, how is he going to do that? He's just going to say, okay, we're going to need to build some technological infrastructure. Here's some fucking LAN cables. There you go, we've done it.
yeah.
Sure, LAN don't do what he thinks they do.
The residents of the human village are just gonna be like, what the f***'s a LAN cable? And then Zero got to work with Sine as they builded a primitive socket with wood and some makeshift wires and using some...
If you put electric through wood, that is a fire hazard waiting to happen.
Yeah.
A wooden socket is not a good idea.
Just like Shrine just gets burned to the ground. Like Sawako comes back from her frog checkups. She's just like, "What the f happened? I left the place for 5 minutes and this happens."
Oh, you Cine.
And it makes some makeshift wires, and using some magic stones he forged during his lessons, he was able to create a very basic power source. And Sine was impressed because Sanai is clearly the type of character that's easily impressed by anything. You could probably like dangle keys in front of her, and yet she'll clap with joy.
Wow, Zero, you built a socket. That's the greatest thing I've ever seen. Look at my life. You're pretty good at this stuff.
She smiled, and then the goddess came in as she looked imposing in her red dress, and Zero felt a bit nervous.
Oh, Kaneko, how are you?
Zene asked.
I'm fine, but I'm interested in your friend.
He seems like a good sacrifice to the ancient ones. She said, and smiled at Zero as he felt even more nervous because this was a living god standing before him. Trust me, trust me. If I had to deal with someone who tried to introduce technology to against Zokyo, I'd be terrified as well.
Oh, this is a pretty good skill you have there.
Oh my god.
You know, I've been working to make more advances in science and Zokyo. If you help me with this project, I can reward you greatly.
She said, she says all that while just like caressing his cheek.
You're like, stranger danger, stranger danger.
Out of this house! Out of this house! Spirits be gone from this house. And Kaneko said, and Zero thought about it and accepted.
Sure, I'd be more than happy to help out. Here, Kaneko, and the experience would be useful too. I think become even more of a Gappy Stew.
I think you mean exprents. I think that's what you meant.
I fucking know what I fucking meant.
Zero replied. Sinar beamed with happiness as she finally charged her old iPod, because she clearly had that for some reason, and the songs were still saved it on as she listened to The Fire and Flames by Dragon Force and did an air guitar motion. Like nothing against Dragon Force. I think their songs are pretty impressive, but don't bring Dragon Force into this. They don't deserve this.
Oh, I'm pretty sure we'll be bringing a lot more into the story later on. Senar sounds like some kind of Star Trek weapon as well.
Oh boy.
Like Charger sends ours to stun.
Oh boy. Alright, let's just continue on.
Well, this rules, fact Zero.
She smiled.
The only part... Oh, a word salad. I think the only sad part is we won't be able to add new songs. You know, with the lack of internet here.
Zero laughed. Oh man, I totally don't miss the outside world at all.
Wow, I'm totally not a piece of shit.
Oh god. Zero also charged up his own iPod and let Sine listen to What Does the Fox Say?
You know, this song is really good.
She smiled because of course they would instantly like the song and not be annoyed at it whatsoever. Why must they do this to me? Later that night, Zero returned to the Scarlet Devil Mansion as he joined his mentor in the library, and she looked more nervous.
Zero-senpai, I want to tell you something.
Patchouli said.
What is it?
Zero asks, and she hugged him tightly. just hugs him tightly. Whoa, creeper!
Oh god, I have to read this line. Okay. I've never felt this way before for anyone. ... I've always had my heart closed off for some reason. But I'm drawn to you. ... I think I'm in love with you, Zero. She
sighed, looking away, and then Zero kissed her, and they made out, and softly dropped onto a sofa below as Patchouli gave herself to Zero, and the night was somehow special, as it was a sensation he had never felt before. You see, this is what we call doing the do.
Leave Patchouli out of this. She's a good girl. She doesn't deserve this.
Let the hermit stick with their books, please. After all, she was a born mage, and he was a human. Very few from the outside world would ever know how that feels as they sealed their bond that night.
Just thinking Zero's rancid. Well, Wong just doing the dirty business and just...
You bet. This is just sad.
Never
Patchouli smiled, and they kissed again. That moment was the greatest night in Zero's life, and a day he would never forget, as he had now as he now had someone very close he wanted to protect and care for. Not just a lover, but also his teacher, who gave him the wisdom and knowledge he needed to push towards his destiny that would lay ahead. I'm not gonna lie. Last time I called, can we just assume a quick question? How old is Patchouli? How old is she in canon?
Like a couple of centuries, maybe. I mean, she knew Emilia before it came against Sokyo, so she's a yokai magician, so she's probably long lived. So she'd probably be old enough to be Zero's mother or grandmother, I'd say.
Who knew that Zero was in? Who knew that James Benson was in the Cougars? Moving on. Zero then went. Oh wait. Hold up. I actually went past a bit. The next morning, Sakia made Zero breakfast, which was potato scones, eggs, bacon, black pudding, and orange juice. Really? This is a fancy mansion, and that was the best you could come up with, especially potato scones.
I love me some potato scones, especially when they're fried. Black pudding's good as well. Yeah. Thank you very much.
He smiled. It's totally radical, way past cool. He smiled and started eating his meal.
You're welcome, dear.
Sakia said, and left to tend to the mistress. Zero then went out for his morning walk by the lake.
Fingo go say Katie in the human village today. He said to himself, and then went to the human village, which I forgot to close this line off.
For God's sakes. At the human village, a crowd had gathered outside City Hall because, question, does the human village actually have a City Hall in canon? Because I want to make sure.
I don't know, it seems like a kind of Americana type thing.
I don't know, because, it's based on rural villages. Gensokyo is basically Japan and the rural villages, so I assume that they don't have one in canon.
I don't know, I think looking at how leadership works in historical Japan. I don't want to speculate because I may go into problematic territory on my part.
Who knows? Moving on. And Zero rushed to the front curious to see what was going on.
What the front curious? What? What is going on?
Zero inquired as a villager turned around. The mayor. God.
Oh, I know what voice to hear.
Yeah. The mayor passed away last night, probably killed by the New World Order conspiracy, and they elected a new one today. But this is an Illuminati up front. Anyway, back to you, ZUN Kita.
And he looked to the front and saw the new mayor being sworn in by some Japanese book. I love the description. Just some Japanese book. It's not like anything involving politics or anything. It's just some random Japanese book they probably found in Kosuzu's shop.
Probably like, you know, like those Japanese adverts where it's like they teach children to use the toilet. It's probably like the instruction book of that.
The Japanese book is just like translated. It just says politics for dummies.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Think of a voice that I can do here.
It's okay. Take your time.
Mayor L'Oreal.
Oh my God.
L'Oreal, because I'm worth it.
She said and finished her oath, and the crowd was puzzled because she was a bird-like yokai. Oh dear.
He's so judgmental.
Don't be so judgmental, guys. Like, come on. The man, listen here, guys. I know the Missia doesn't exactly have the best pedicure with her nails, but come on, cut her some slack, okay? She makes good food, understand? The man turned to Zero again.
It's a historic first day. The first yokai mayor of the human village, which has obviously been elected by the NWO. And some say this is a new age that bridges the gaps between our races. I think it is controlled opposition. It's dangerous, and I want you to buy my supplements to protect you from becoming cursed.
The man said. Mayor Lore gazed at Zero. Ellipses. There was something cold about her eyes, and then she turned back to the cheering crowd as she waved her hand in the air at the adoring people.
Tomorrow shall be the welcoming ceremony for me, and there will be food and drinks too. I hope all my people will come. Let us see a new age of human yokai cooperation, and then the coming human cult. Oh, wait, is this mic still on? Shit. Forget I said that last part.
She said the people looked happy and almost vacant in a way, and Zero noticed she had a sing-song voice to her.
I'm happy, but there's something good. That one up. I'm happy. There is going to be unity, but something seems off. Maybe Dr. Eggman's behind this.
Zero whispered to the man in front.
I guess, but I, for one, welcome the new age.
He said. It was then Zero noticed a Tengu with black hair, and she looked kind of cute, because that part is clearly important.
No, Zero. No more shipping. No. Bad.
Bad Zero just gets out like a spray bottle. Bad Zero, go to your room.
Oh, hey, you're an outsider who came here. I totally need to get an interview of you. Now, what do you know about Spider-Man? Anyway, review later, but anyway, I was thinking about this. All of this.
She asked.
I'm happy to do one, but it seems so quick. What happened to the old mayor anyway?
Zero asked her.
Well, the reports say Spider-Man killed her peacefully in his sleep.
Peacefully
in her sleep.
Because they didn't even notice the glass shoved down the man's throat or anything. I love to imagine they just look at the corpse and thought, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure he died peacefully in his sleep. He died
peacefully in his sleep while chewing on broken glass.
Yeah, he died as he our mayor died as he lived, eating shards of glass without any milk.
It's full of vitamins and minerals.
Aya said.
I'm Aya, by the way, and I work for the Tengu newspaper. Now I want pictures of Spider-Man, goddammit.
And she shook Zero's hand. Suddenly, a voice came from behind.
So, Zero, we meet at last. I am Yukari. And I think we should have a nice chat over some tea.
She smiled. Oh boy.
Oh, going to make her
this is just only Summer's warm welcome. Anyways, chapter 4, Summer's warm glow. Zero looked at the yokai before him. Her eyes had a cold gaze in them, almost as if they were hiding something behind them.
I've heard so much about you, darling. Please let me introduce myself, Starlight. I am Yukari Yakimo, the yokai of gaps. If anything, you could say I am
oh god.
benefactor of Gensokyo.
She smiled.
Well, pleased to meet you, Miss Yakimo.
You mean Yumako?
I'll say it my way, goddammit.
I just realized when they said Yukari Yakumo, they also said it as Yukari Yumako first time as well. God dang it. Man can't pronounce it. Man can't spell names the same as his own god dang life. Moving on. Zero replied with a smile. Through he was still nervous around this strange yokai. Zero then remembered she was the girl from his dreams.
Yes, the frickin' girl from his dreams. He wants to just stick his little zero wiener on all the yokai.
Whoa man, calm down, man. We don't need that kind of language in my Christian server.
Yes, a good Christian stream. Please do not swear. Okay, whose line is this? What's for the roll on sentences? Okay. I remember. Oh wait.
Oh yeah, this is Zero talking.
I remember you from my dreams. It was like I was fated to meet you, and I also woke up with a surprise between my legs.
Oh god, Zero said as he wondered.
Of course, we have a connection. After all, I was the one who brought you here through my gaps from the outside world.
Wow, you're just gonna get right into it, huh? Yeah, I was wondering, brought you here. Well, can you take me back? No. Yukari smiled, and Jeff Goldblum, and then all the pieces started to fall into place.
Oh god, okay, this is plain. I should be angry with you, but instead I am thankful. Being here is so radical, bodacious, and has shown me so much wonder. If I stayed in the outside world, my life could have been boring, like working at Asda or something. Sure, I might have gotten some job or a family, but there's so much more out there, you know? Something better than all that, and coming to get Silky has helped me discover that. Tubular.
Zero smiled. So, yep. So James Benson, he is totally content with leaving his previous life behind, and for this one, you do know this place just about has this place has a lot of problems, right? It's not that little paradise you think it is, okay? You literally almost died to Rumia, okay? Let's just point that out.
Very tragic story. James Benson was just a boy when his father would come home drunk, and he always wished he could go away to a fantasy land.
He always comes back. He always comes home from his local Asda and contemplates life.
Asda shite anyway. Their prices are too damn high.
Yeah,
On that one.
Yukari was pleased with his answer.
I hope you have fun and get silky, darling. Do take care, Starlight. I'm just picturing her like White Diamond from Steven Universe. This is like the evil. I can't remember somebody in WSW called her Dirt Carry, the version in this universe.
Oh my god. She smiled and went into a purple gap and vanished, and Zero was totally not freaked out by the fact that her gap had millions of eyes staring into his soul. Zero was a little annoyed.
I thought she was going to get us tea. Don't.
Yeah, he sighed. It's like then just plays the Seinfeld. I thought she was gonna get us tea. Walking through the village that afternoon, Zero saw a high-haired girl in green carrying a katana sword, and it looked like she was training. She also had some white ball following her around, which Zero thought looked really weird. Oh yeah, because Meons clearly look like white balls. Honestly, I just see them as white wisps floating around with an elongated tail. But that's just how I see them.
Hello there. My name is Sonic. Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh, wait, wrong series. Zero Kita. I hope I'm not bothering you.
Zero smiled, and the girl shook her head.
Not at all. I'm Yo and Patu, and I am a half-ghost girl in service to Mistress Yuyako, and it is a pleasure to meet you. I am here to talk to you of the town.
She replied. Zero admired her as she was training.
Would you like to come practice with me?
Yoma asked him. Yoma.
I'd love to, but I used to own a katana back home.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Oh.
It's like, the Fedora is just like, when you were playing football, I was studying the sword.
Hey, it's like one of those videos. While you were busy partying, I studied the blade.
I'd love to, and I used to own a katana back home that I bought online.
You can't say that with a straight face.
So I messed around a little, but I'm no pro or anything. That'll probably take me 2 paragraphs before that happens.
What if in reality, like, what he meant by messed around, he was just like swinging the sword around, he broke his mom's vase or something.
And then the cat came in the room.
No, Zero remarked, and Yomao threw him a boku stick, and they practiced different sword techniques, but she was really good, and Zero could not keep up.
You need to watch your footing, Zero.
She said, and he nodded, and they continued. They trained for the next 5 hours, I'm assuming in the exact same spot in the human village, which no one seems to mind for some reason, as Zero was learning more and more about swordplay, but when it finally got dark, they stopped for a rest and had a drink together.
Okay, that was great! Now I want to get a blade forged. Besides, it would be good for protection, though I'm really good with magic.
Yes, because having a melee weapon is so helpful in a world that runs with long-range tactics. Yeah, that's gonna. Yeah, Zero smiled, and so did Yomu.
Well, I better get back to the mistress, I will introduce you to time you pass through.
She said and took her leave. When Zero passed by the human village, he noticed Fujiwara was there and his friend Kain.
Elena, I think my voice here.
Alright.
Yeah.
All I can think of is like when he spell it as kind. I'm just imagining the fish from the Kirby series. You know what I'm talking about, right? The blue.
Oh, Lord. So this is kind.
Good to see you again, Zero. I heard the
Oh.
Tengu Aya was looking for you. I thought you could go and do the interview. When they come, we could talk it over the UK Mutant Man.
Kind smiled and Zero nodded.
Sure, sounds like fun. And I've always wanted to be in the papers or the news.
He laughed and they all got on a carriage and took it to the Yokai Mountain.
Yeah. I'll do heavy weapon guy for Fujiwara.
Oh god.
Maybe tomorrow we can get more training and the three of us can go for drinks afterwards. How does that sound?
Yes, you gotta go there with the R's because you gotta get that rheumatism.
Baby.
Let's see. Fujiwara smiled.
I'd love that. It sounds like a date, man.
Kind giggled as we watched the scenery pass us by from outside the curtain. You are going through different perspectives. You're getting the reader confused, man.
Wait, why am I outdoors? Why is there a carriage around? Oh god, the fourth wall is meaningless. The universe is a lie.
Oh god, it's cracking!
Yeah.
I love that. Oh wait, no.
Oh yeah, you already read that. It's the next dialogue.
Oh,
This is character's eye.
I'm glad I met you guys. It's been good to make such wonderful friends. We're Gensoko heroes.
It's like 5 minutes later, you just see like ZUN, Kita, Moku and Kiane just kicking Rumia while she's down. Why are you doing this? Because we're Gensokyo heroes. Zero's.
Oh, I see somebody watches Sonic Paradox.
Zero smiled. After an hour of traveling, the trio had finally arrived where Aya and another Tengu with white hair were waiting for them. Yes.
Hey, Peter Parker, it's good to see you. This story may make the front page of the
Screw it. It's not the newspaper. It's just the newspaper, okay? I watched Panty and Stocking enough to know of the ruse. Aya smiled as she started taking pictures of me.
Yeah, you've got such a hot bod. Oh, yeah.
My God, you could grind me with those abs.
Well, let's go inside the shack and I will start the interview. And you better bring those pictures of Spider-Man you promised me.
Yeah, Aya said, and they followed her inside.
So, tell me about this outside world of yours, and Spider-Man. Where do you come from?
Aya asked.
As he was chugging a cigar.
I come from a place in England in the UK. I come from a city there called London, and I went to college for a while. It wasn't bad. I had good friends in the outside world, like my radical friend Tails. I mean Billy, but life was kind of dull, I guess.
Man, you are an ungrateful person, he replied as Aya nodded and was taking down notes.
So, what kind of things were you into?
Aya smiled.
I liked football, computer games, and was a huge music and anime fan.
Zero replied as he thought about it. Some of these things he could never get to enjoy again due to how undeveloped Gensokyo was, but he hoped by working with the goddess Kaneko they could push for some innovations in the near future. I gotta have my Japanese animes.
And we've got to introduce soccer to Gensokyo. That's an important development. I can just picture that all the old firm football rivalry against Gensokyo and spell cards.
Oh dear.
I keep losing my place in this.
It's okay, take your time. It was just after the innovations in the near future.
You're really interesting. Please tell me more.
I think you mean internesting. I,
Saying that word that would break my vocabulary too much.
Aya said as the interview continued through the night. Later that evening, everyone went home as Kind went to her house in the human village and put her dinner on as she was eating a bowl of rice.
That was a fun night. Zero was really cute.
Oh, please, no. We don't, leave Kind out of this, please. Let's see. She blushed, and then she noticed there was a black and red spider in her dinner, as she pinged it away.
Hey, there's a beastie in my suit.
Ew! I don't like them! I don't like spiders! Ah! She sighed and took a bite, but then felt numb as she dropped the bowl and noticed hundreds of poison spiders were bursting out of the rice until spiders began pouring out of the bowl en masse, and then Kind was choking. She started to cough out poison spiders. Like, how many poison spiders are there? Like, how does she not even notice the poison spiders in her bowl of rice?
It's magic, which is the motherfucking magic. How does it work? Maybe your carry just went to Australia where there's a big nest of thousand spiders, just gapped them into Chinese food.
Yeah, she just like gapped it. Yeah, just gapped them all in the bowl.
So why is your carry like the most laziest yokai who's just kind of whimsical, just a mass murdering psychopath?
Okay, I know that Yukari could do whatever she wants, but still, I mean, come on. I've never seen this kind of silliness.
Absolutely vicious. Oh god. She started to cough up poisons, but what the fuck, man?
She screamed as she felt her insides burning in pain as poison spiders began to eat her from within and blanket her body, and then, period. It's just, and then, well, what happened after that?
And then she turned into spider.
And then she became one with the spiders. She became Spider-Man! A shadowy yokai appeared.
Dude, I just picture, like, Regio's theme from Kill La Kill just plays in this version of Yukari. The last test standing in my way of taking control of the human village. It is a pity you could not join your own kind. So now, you will die.
Well, I mean, she's a protector of the human village, so it wasn't like she was gonna join them anyway. So, yeah, the voice said, and Kind knew who the voice belonged to as she rolled up on the floor in pain.
You pure fucking funny, man!
She gasped as the spiders finally covered her and killed her.
It's a very nasty spell I had Medine Melconi make for me, darling.
Meloconi.
That's kind of mob boss, like.
Hey, don't make me get our boss, Medine Meloconi. She's gonna turn you into a banana split if you get on a bad side.
A sign of what happens to those who oppose the New World Order.
The figure said and then vanished. Okay, if this is somehow not Cyrano, I will definitely be surprised. The next morning, Zero got up for his walk as Patchouli joined him that day because she's clearly the type to leave the Scarlet Devil Mansion's library, as they went to do some shopping in the human village, but saw guards removing a skeleton with horns. Because what was there a full moon? What, you didn't describe it.
I just pictured like a cartoon-looking skeleton, just a horn.
Yes.
Just goofy bones. What has happened?
Zero asked, and the head guard looked at him with sadness.
It's teacher Kaine. She was eaten alive by something. What kind of sick bastard?
The guard said in horror, as many were upset because the human village had lost one of its most loved people. Zero could not summon up words as he fell to his knees and started crying, and then his cries turned to screams. Like, Zero, shut up!
Kill the bastard that harmed her!
He said and swore revenge. Zero, shut up! You only knew her for like a day! But first there was a murder mystery and someone had to solve it, and Zero knew he was going to need help to crack the case. Like,
It's a mystery.
Zero, shut up, okay? You only knew Kiene for a day.
How come the guards, like, suddenly their mayor's murdered and replaced by yokai mayor a day later, then their teacher's mysteriously murdered a day, and nobody's like, there's a conspiracy here, I think.
Yeah, no one thinks this is like, yeah, imagine they also thought that Kiene died peacefully in her sleep when they literally dragged out her skeleton.
Yeah, skeleton covered in poison spiders.
Yeah,
she victim with broken glass in their mouth.
Just never put two and two together. Chapter.
Like Hot Fuzz, it's just like, lots of accidents happen here.
Lots of accidents happen here. The human village, the people of the human village are really clumsy. Chapter 5. Summer's End. Billy woke up in his house and it was 7 in the morning as the rain beat the window.
Oh. Oi, no shitty day, eh?
He sighed and got his jacket and went for a walk. It had been more than a month now since his friend James had disappeared and many people thought he was dead, but deep inside Billy knew he was alive somehow. Billy went into the newsagent and saw a copy of the Daily Mail.
I'm just thinking though, like, after the incident what happened with James Benson disappearing, his father was quickly blamed for being a potential murder suspect and brought to jail.
Oh my god.
Poor Steve Benson was jailed for a crime he didn't commit as he mourned both his missing son and the fact he was blamed for a potential murder case.
My god.
Well done, James Benson.
Oh.
As long as you're having fun in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Okay then, the news.
Yep. Let's see.
Welcome to the news. People around the country going missing may be connected to other country cases of missing people.
Not gonna lie, that sounds really redundant.
Just other country cases.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's I don't know, something about it tells me it sounds really redundant, and not only that, it also sounds pretty generic. The front page said, and it made Billy think that what if it was all related? He think nothing of it for now and bought a bottle of Lazozade. No, let's see.
It's spelled Lucozade.
I think that's like an actual drink. It's been a while.
Yeah, Lucozade. It's like an energy drink.
Okay. Is it like the UK's equivalent to Red Bull?
No, we've got Red Bull here. It's like a kind of orangey drink. It's actually quite nice.
Maybe.
Very light.
I'm not a big fan of energy drinks, but maybe I might give Lazozade a try if I ever get a chance. Billy went down the street, but then there was a purple light and eyes all round him as he penaced and felt fear.
Oi, what's going on, mate? Somebody help me out! Oh God!
He screamed in fear, and then it was black as everything had became a void. He never did finish that Lazozade. Zero was in the Moya shrine, doing sit-ups and working out as Saine watched him.
I know you're still upset about Kine, but this isn't help.
And Saine concerned, and Zero ignored her and continued to work out so he could get stronger and make the and I'm quoting the fic here, make the bastards that did this pay. Zero went outside and started hitting a makeshift punching bag. What? It's not a punching bag, just like a bag specifically designed to punch things. It's just.
Kaneko, who's got her back turned, to like, why are you punching my back?
Please, Zero, stop this.
Saine begged, and then she got in the way, and Zero punched him. She cried and fell to the ground, and Zero had stood there in shock.
What have I done?
He said in horror and went to her. Zero helped her up and gave her a hug.
I'm sorry. I guess I let my emotions take control of me. That was totally unradical. I'm just so sad Kine is gone. I'll never get to see her smile again. See her laugh again. Have fun nights out with her. And Fujiwara.
But boy, you only met her for like a day. Stop treating it like you know your entire life. Zero said, and Sine hugged him tightly.
Zero, you're a strong fighter.
and you will overcome this pain and move on.
She said, and Zero smiled.
You're right. I need to be strong.
He replied. On the way home to the Scarlet Devil Mansion, Zero Kita passed a human village and noticed there was something going on at the school.
Jimmy Savile was there.
What is going on here?
Zero asked one of the villagers, and she smiled.
Oh, well, we've got a new headmistress now that the school Kanye is gone.
Oh, yeah, but, yes, of course, because you can clearly find someone else to replace her, just like that.
Dying and new people are replacing them, and it obviously looks like murders. No, there's not a conspiracy plot. No, just accidents.
Our guardian and teacher of the human village's school, just completely expendable. We'll find someone else in like 3 days. But that's when Zero saw something that shocked him. The new headmistress was Cyrano, the fairy that helps Rumia that first day he came to Gensokyo. Look, can we point out, Cyrano, not exactly the best teacher, okay? Not exactly the best teacher.
She's the strongest teacher, though.
Yeah, she's the strongest teacher, yes, but smartest teacher, no.
I've heard that her math classes are perfect, so that's a plus.
yeah, at least she's got that going for her.
God, no wonder we've got an ill-informed population when they're hiring Cerno as our teachers.
But that's a man-eater yokai.
But no, look, at worst, all she does is like freezes frogs, okay? That's like the worst she can do, okay? Zero shouted, and then the guards came closer.
You should watch what you say, fool. Cerno is an upstanding member of this community, and has been changed for the better.
Don't you mean community member?
It's an amazing typo.
The guard said, and Zero wanted to shake his fist in anger because now he knew something was going on, not just with the mayor, but the corrupt school system.
This is all so wrong.
Zero said.
Are you a racist or something?
Whoa, man, calm down. I didn't say anything.
This is the first step towards
Bridging the gap between humans and yokai. We are building a new age.
The guard said, and Zero sighed, not wanting to rise into a fight, and walked home. But, that was totally important to the story. Back at the Scarlet Devil Mansion, Zero relaxed in his room, which was pretty big and had a double bed, a steampunk record player that Kaneko helped to build, and they planned to mass produce them soon to sell at the village, and tons of pretty cool stuff. He was also a permanent resident of the mansion now, and a good friend to the mistress and her maid. Oh my god.
By the way, steampunk everything is going to be a trend in these stories. Just like we've had, I think the newest one there was like a steampunk van.
Oh my god, man! James Benson, he just loves that steampunk. Let's see. All right, where was?
I'm drinking a steampunk can of Monster right now.
All right, Patchouli came in and they shared a kiss.
You're still in pain, aren't you?
She asked, and Zero tried to brush it off, but she led her finger to his lips.
No, I angst alone.
No, let me angst alone, woman.
Shh, let me heal your pain.
Woman, what did I just say? Patchouli said, and pushed Zero onto the bed and made out, and then they made love, and using magic during the session was able to heal his emotions and bring him to a heightened state of being. Zero has ascended!
Hate this. I don't like this. Okay, I'm calm with my meds now.
Alright. Keep her going.
I love you.
That was Zero saying that!
I'm not redoing that.
Okay, Zero said and kissed her passionately, and they stayed up all night by each other's side. So you're just gonna have lack of sleep. All right. The next morning, Zero woke up and could smell something delicious as he bathed and got dressed into a black robe and came to the dining hall to find Patchouli had made him breakfast.
So she's a Stepford wife now.
Oh no.
This smells amazing.
Zero smiled.
It's French toast. I figured you would like it, dear.
You know, I have a feeling that Patchouli, she couldn't really cook to save her life. I don't think she would be capable of doing that. She reads cookbooks, yes, but
salmonella poisoning that day, nothing about it.
in reality, she cooked a mystery food X, and she just calls it French toast. Let's see. She smiled, and they kissed and sat down. After breakfast, Zero walked to the shrine and met Reimu and Marasa. Ah, yes, good old typos. I'm not saying Marisa's name. Classic.
Marasa Christmas.
Marasa Christmas.
What's up, Zeh?
Marasa said, and Marasa smiled and patted Zero playfully on the back.
Oh, just trying to relax. And I'm going to start my investigation this afternoon. What about you?
Zero asked.
Oh. Well, we found a human from the outside world. It's lucky Rinu got to him before the yokai.
She said.
Oh, can I see?
Zero asked, and Marasa nodded.
Sure, why not? Zeh.
Marasa said, and they went inside the shrine, and Reimu was heading to a familiar brown-haired boy with white skin. Okay.
Oh my god, I know this guy. It's my old friend Billy. Well, it was another life now, but I think we used to be best mates.
Oh my god, like, you're still leading the same life, you fool! Zero said with shock, and then Billy woke up.
Oh, God.
Oh, James, is that you, mate? Where am I?
Don't you mean where am? It's not as good as where I am. It's not as good as where I am. But still it's pretty good. Billy asked. Zero smiled and pulled up a chair because that's something that Reimu had this entire time in the shrine.
We have a lot of catching up to do, and you're not gonna believe half of what I'm gonna tell you.
Zero laughed. End of the summer's end. And I think this is where we're gonna leave things off because, oh boy, what's gonna happen next time is gonna be quite interesting. So join us next time as we go for part 3 of this riff. So see you guys then.
The Fable of Billy.